Scorpio, it's one of the most iconic names in the Indian automotive scene, having over the years established itself firmly as a household name. And while all the buzz in recent weeks has been around the Scorpio-N, it's the older model that played such a crucial role in establishing it as a name that commands the sort of respect and authority not many can boast of. And despite the introduction of the new model, the older one will soldier on as the Mahindra Scorpio Classic. And while it might look like the same good old Scorpio we're all too familiar with, Mahindra has given it some updates to the exterior, to the interior, to the features list, as well as underneath the skin. But before we talk more about them, do remember to subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon so that you get notified every time we go up with new content on Auto Today.
Visually, the styling has been carried forward largely unchanged, and that was the intention. There are a handful of changes though. The grille has been reworked and incorporates the new Mahindra Twin Peak logo. The headlamps have been refreshed as well, and the bumper gets an update complete with new fog lamp enclosures coupled with LED DRLs. Over to the side, the ORVMs no longer feature turn indicators, which have moved below to the 4 air vents on the front fender, and the Scorpio branding on the side cladding has been tweaked too. It sports new look 2-tone 17-inch diamond cut alloy wheels, while at the back the stacked tail lamp setup has been reintroduced, although the bits that actually light up and the double D LED pattern have not been fiddled with. The shade of grey you see here is also new to the Scorpio.
Much like the exterior, the interior too largely remains unchanged. You get the same dashboard layout, but Mahindra has cut down on some of the features to bring the prices down. But you do get a lot of essential equipment that you would want in a car at this price point. You get automatic climate control, you get a touchscreen infotainment unit, you get an instrument cluster which has this display in the middle which shows you your relevant data, although the dials are analog as always. You also get cruise control, and you get your standard buttons on the steering wheel for accessing your phone calls and controlling the music. This infotainment screen, it has grown in size. The earlier model got a 7-inch unit, but this one is a 9-inch unit. It's an Android-based touchscreen, but it also loses out on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity. Aside from that, the center console and this area here gets for wood finish to make it look a little more premium. There's a nifty slot for your phone to sit in. There are 2 cubby holes here. The doors, like the older Scorpio, do not get bottle holders, but there is a small pocket for you to store whatever else you want to store in there. And the seats themselves haven't really changed, although the seat fabric is different and you don't get those leatherette seats anymore. This is the top end model and you do get only fabric seats in here.
Besides the ones already mentioned, in terms of features you also get electrically adjustable ORVMs, all 4 power windows, driver seat height adjust, second row AC vents and dual front airbags.
This is the top of the line S11 variant of the Scorpio Classic, and this can be had with second row captain seats, which are what we have in this particular vehicle. The seats themselves are very comfortable. The thigh support is great. There is plenty of leg room, plenty of knee room and very generous headroom, so you can sit here very comfortably in case you want the car to be chauffeur driven. And these seats can be reclined and they can be moved forward as well to make more space for those seated in the back. And speaking of those seated in the back, let's get into the third row and show you the kind of space there is. Now I've set the front driver's seat according to my driving position, and my height is 5'8" for reference. The second row has been moved fully forward and there's still ample knee room for the passengers seated in the second row. And with that setting, I have managed to fit in the third row of the Scorpio Classic. But as you can see, it is a tight fit. My knees are touching the seat back. But for shorter durations and for maybe children or very short individuals, this seat is fine. Headroom is again plenty, as is the case with the rest of the seats. And there are no AC vents here, only the second row and of course the first row, they get AC vents. There are no AC vents here. There's nothing in terms of amenities, but you do get this same window that pops out to aid ventilation a little, and the glass area is large enough to not make it feel claustrophobic. You also get this rear center armrest, although it is too low to be comfortable, but Mahindra has added that. And Mahindra says that this can seat 3 abreast. That will be a very tight fit, but you can actually squeeze 3 people in if the need arises, and again for shorter journeys and preferably children or very short individuals. For average size adults, this isn't the most comfortable place to be. Mahindra is also offering the Scorpio Classic in different configurations in terms of seating, so you can also have jump seats here, and the base model even gets a 9-seat configuration where the jump seats here can seat 2 on either side.
The third row can be folded away to liberate a generous amount of boot space. While the third row in this case gets 3-point seat belts for 2 and is the safer choice, traditionally majority buyers have opted for the versions with jump seats.
The Mahindra Scorpio Classic still comes with a 2.2 litre diesel motor, but this engine is the Gen 2 M-Hawk motor from the Scorpio-N. And it is lighter and more fuel efficient. It makes 130 bhp of maximum power and 300 Newton meters of peak torque. That's a deficit of about 10 bhp and 19 Newton meters compared to the older model. The transmission is a 6-speed manual shift-by-wire, so it has been updated as well. And the throws are much more car-like in terms of when you compare it with the older model. It's lodged into gear much easier, the shift action is much smoother, and unlike the previous iterations where there was a complaint of the reverse gear not slotting too easily, that's not the case with this one. So far it's been very smooth, not an issue at all. In terms of real world performance, the lack in or the decrease in power and torque isn't really apparent. It feels almost the same as the older model, and all the likable bits like this really tractable motor that's still there. I mean, you could be in third gear under 20 kmph, under 1000 rpm, and you could just easily get going without having to downshift. So that's a good thing if you're driving in the city. You don't have to work the gearbox too much.
Mahindra has made revisions to the suspension to better mitigate body roll and improve ride quality overall. Road imperfections at lower speeds, especially sharper bumps, are felt, as is typical of ladder frame SUVs, but ride quality improves massively as speeds build up. Quick direction changes at higher speeds won't inspire any confidence though, and this is, as has always been the case, an SUV that likes to take it easy.
It's not the most modern option at this price point. You also, now have the Scorpio and a ladder frame SUV, and you can get similar levels of equipment, even more in fact, in slightly lower trims, the mid trims, at similar pricing. But the thing about the Scorpio Classic is this charm it has, this respect and authority it commands over other SUVs on the road. That is simply unmatched. You sit high up, you get a really good view of the road, you can see the bonnet, you can see the visibility all around is really good. It is decent to drive in the city, out on the highway. It will cruise effortlessly at triple-digit speeds. Although if you're driving it in the city, again, like the older Scorpio, is a really heavy, lazy steering, so you'll have to work it. But again, I keep coming back to the same point. That's all part of the Scorpio's charm, which has been what has pulled so many people, attracted so many people to this sort of product. And compared to the Scorpio that was sold earlier, the S11, Mahindra has managed to shave off about 3 lakhs over its ex-showroom price for the diesel manual variant. Of course, you do compromise on certain features, but again, the target audience is such, they probably won't be too unhappy or bothered by the lack of those certain features. The basics are still there, and for a customer who's looking for a slightly old school, high riding ladder frame SUV, this is exactly what they would want. The respect and authority the car commands, the feel you get driving the Scorpio, it's all intact. And if you are someone who's looking for that sort of a vehicle, there really is no other option. This is one of those honest minimum frills SUV. You get exactly what it says on the packaging, no more, no less.